We are sharing the stories of revered places and people, spotlighting how the treasured past informs the present.
And we're learning how those entrusted with the legacy use it to build the future.
That legacy includes honoring the lives of those who are no longer with us and whose impact continues to be felt.
Joanne Crozier Allen Boyce was a member of the Clinton 12, the group of students who desegregated the first public high school in the South.
She died this past December at the age of 84. 6 on Your Side reporter Kayla Precht shares her story.
Every kid that walks through that at Clinton High School and across the country, they have the opportunity for an equitable education because Joanne walked down that hill.
Joanne Crozier Allen Boyce was one of the first 12 students to desegregate Clinton High School. A talented and driven student, she spent much of her free time reading. Her placement at Clinton High School came during a turbulent social experiment playing out across the country. Post-Brown versus Board of Education and the end of separate but equal. And while Joanne was ready, it was far from easy.
By week's end, there are 3,000 protesters roughly in a town of 4,000 people, right? And they're all here because they don't want her and the other members of the Clinton 12 to go to school.
By the end of the first semester in December, Joanne's family left for California, where she remained for the rest of her life. Years later, Joanne shared her experiences through poetry in her book, This Promise of Change, which won a Newbery Prize for Youth Literature.
Kids and adults are picking up that book every day, and it's making an impact, and it's teaching them kindness, it's teaching them empathy, and it's teaching them to stand up when you see something wrong.
In 2019, Joanne and the remaining members of the Clinton 12 were recognized, making the same walk to school they made in 1956. This time, those lining the sidewalk stood to honor them.
What a difference coming down the hill was this morning. Thank you so very much. In particular, I want to thank all the scholars outside and inside for giving us the applause, the band for moving me so deeply that I wanted to cry.
Joanne's legacy and purpose lives on through her words and those who knew her.
The only thing that drives out hate is love, right? The only thing that can take away darkness is light. Like Martin Luther King, and that was a woman who lived it.
Reporting in Clinton, Kayla Precht, 6 on Your Side.
And what a legacy she leaves behind. And another woman who made her mark on East Tennessee history has passed away. Former Knox County Commissioner Diane Jordan has died following complications from a stroke. She was known for her stylish hats and breaking local barriers. In 2017, the Interstate 275 bridge over Elm Street and Bernard Avenue was designated as Diane Jordan Pass in her honor. In 2024, she and her husband, Reverend John B. Jordan, celebrated their retirement as pastor and first lady of Peace and Goodwill Missionary Baptist Church.
Local Black history doesn't always make it to the textbooks. Much of it is passed down from generation to generation.
Last year, a new museum opened in East Tennessee with a mission to preserve and share those stories in Anderson, Roane, and Morgan counties. In every county, there are stories to be told.
I've been involved in history, I'm gonna say 50 years. And so there was a need, for the museum here.
Julia Hopper Daniel is the driving force behind the newly opened Tri-County African American Museum in Oliver Springs.
Our history is so rich, it's hard to share. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So the vision was here.
In the heart of this strip mall, the lives of the Black families of Anderson, Roane, and Morgan counties are woven together into beautifully curated cases.
This was my cousin who was in California, Cameron Boyce. He was a Walt Disney movie star. And then his grandmother was Joanne, Clinton 12. And her mother, they were all from Oliver Springs.
Daniel's story is one of many.
My family been here almost 7 generations. I don't want to do my great-great-grandmother was brought here in Oliver Springs as a slave. And when you look from her coming from a slave, and we have a farm section over there, and from the farm section, you got people that are Tuskegee Airmen, school teachers, and at one time, we had several people from this area going to Knoxville College.
And if you happen to visit the museum, someone is ready to share their part. And what is this mayoral proclamation?
Yes, they honored me for being one of the first Black beauty salon owners here in Oak Ridge. Yes.
And the history is deep. Stories of triumph born out of unimaginable hard circumstances, from enslavement to Jim Crow.
All of these coal miners have stories of their ancestors, and then their kids have evolved. Like my grandfather's great-granddaughter, she's now in she's a medical director at Wake Forest University.
And they are just getting started. Every day, a new chapter is being written.
We need to tell more about our story.
Basically, what we're doing is standing on the shoulders of the people that are here.
Amen, sister.
And ask anyone, the foundation is strong. I tell you, go stop by, take a visit. There's a lot to be told there. All right, a radio personality in Knoxville plays a tremendous role in bringing the sound and soul of jazz to the airwaves.
I spoke with the man who owns 91.5 FM, and he tells me how music continues to shatter barriers.
I'm Brian Clay, and this is Jazzpirations. I'm here every Sunday afternoon from 4 till 7 p.m. It's the smoothest show on your radio, the perfect soundtrack for your Sunday.
The morning commute, if you want to call it that, for Brian Clay starts with a coffee from his kitchen and then a short stroll to his radio setup in his living room.
So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Broadcasting jazz hits from yesterday and today across Knoxville on WJZF.
The more contemporary names are Kirk Whalum, George Duke, who I met years ago. Joe Sample is a jazz pianist, incredible. Nat King Cole. A lot of folks think about the Christmas song, but he was an incredible jazz pianist. Amazing, like top 10 ever.
Clay is not only a recording artist himself, but also the voice and owner of one of only 2 Black-owned radio stations in Knoxville.
I think it speaks volumes for the cultural diversity of East Tennessee and Knoxville, because there is a wonderful audience of folks who love contemporary jazz music. This is a selfish endeavor for me. I love the music, so I love finding it and putting it on the air. But I have found out from the audiences and people calling me that they love it. It makes them feel like they're at home. It makes them feel good. So I just think the impact is really special here.
As a man who's been in the business for 4 decades, he's adapted to the challenges of radio no longer being the most popular source where people listen to their music, by using his voice to reach out to anyone from any walk of life.
Creating something that can last, creating something that can be useful for more than just this year or the next 5.
And building something that can last, so the next generation can continue to appreciate the art of jazz.
So when a kid comes up to me and says, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I heard you on the radio," or "I saw you playing keyboards, you're amazing." I love it when that kid, and you can almost see it when they talk to you. You can see it in their eyes that they're looking at you saying, "I'm you. I can be you." I think Black music has shaped all music. And as you always hear, Black history is just history. It just really is. So highlighting artists that have done things like Quincy Jones has, like Louis Armstrong, Mahalia Jackson I have in there. She was the voice of the civil rights movement, like a Marvin Gaye, who you can play a Marvin Gaye song that he wrote in the 60s, and it applies directly to the things that are happening in the world today.
And he was so much fun to talk to, Tirsa. And still to come, his name is still being splashed all over town. Buford Delaney, heralded as one of the great artists of the 20th century.
How his work reached the heights of the art world.
And a place of faith, a storehouse of history, and the center for the fight for civil rights.
Since its founding, has been a citadel for freedom, for liberty, and for justice.
A groundbreaking church launches a fresh investment in the minds of the community's children as we honor Black history in East Tennessee.
Of faith, a storehouse of history, and the center in the fight for civil rights.
I take you to Logan Temple AME Zion Church in East Knoxville to see how the groundbreaking church is launching a fresh investment in the minds of the community's children.
There is history within these church walls.
Logan Temple, since its founding, has been a citadel for freedom, for liberty, and for justice.
And so, God, we thank you
Since 1865, Logan Temple AME Zion Church has not only been a center for worship in the Black community, but an edifice of a higher calling to serve.
It is through Logan Temple that the first school established to educate the newly emancipated slaves in Knox County was established in Logan Temple Church when we were downtown on Commerce Street. It is at Logan Temple where the Freedmen's Association held their meeting to organize to demand voting rights coming out of the Civil War into Reconstruction. It is through Logan Temple where persons like Ida B. Wells and Thomas T. Fortune came to the city of Knoxville to encourage the entire city to live up to the identity of a nation, which is a place where all persons can be able to pursue their rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Senior Pastor Sam Brown says this year the congregation is celebrating 16 decades of nurturing the faithful in Knoxville.
This is our kickoff to our 160th church anniversary.
While there is joy in worship and fellowship over a meal, the congregation says it understands its history dictates the vision for the years to come.
Our theme for this year is learning from our past, being steadfast in our present, and looking to our future. So while we celebrate the accomplishments of our ancestors, we certainly don't rest on our laurels. We understand that we have to do our part to invest as well.
Reverend Brown says Logan Temple is Christ-centered and community-focused.
And so we have a saying here at Logan Temple, and we say to the whole city and to everyone who comes through our doors, look to Logan Temple.
This is the kickoff to the church's capital campaign, renovating their building with a focus on early childhood education and community outreach.
And now when it comes to art in Knoxville, one name immediately comes to mind. 6
News anchor Bo Williams has more on the story of a man who helped put Knoxville on the global art map.
His is a familiar name in Knoxville, now even donning the outside of the condominiums at the new Covenant Health Park in big, bold letters. And while the name may be familiar, some may still be asking, who is Delaney?
Buford Delaney was one of the great artists of the 20th century.
The Knoxville native, born in 1901, overcame racial prejudice and poverty, as well as Knoxville's then stereotypes, to become one of the area's most charismatic figures.
He was the opposite of the way Knoxville, a lot of us grew up in a city that liked to represent itself as very, very, very normal, very middle America, very white. But he was just completely opposite. He was a black man, he was gay, he was very charismatic, he just lit up a room anytime he went anywhere.
A personality on display through his art.
For him, there was this exalted universe beyond the physical world, and that's what he kept trying to tap into through his art.
Stephen Wicks is with the Knoxville Museum of Art. He has seen firsthand the impacts of Buford Delaney's work.
He would use these luminous colors, and he would weave them on the canvas in ways that created all this depth. And these were these arenas of color and light that he was so absorbed by. He was always trying to figure out ways to enrich his palette and create an experience for himself as well as for his viewers.
Delaney, whose talent would take him from Knoxville to New York City to Paris, would die in 1979 at the age of 77 from mental illness. But his art continues to live on.
He lived in his own world, and he was able to a degree that most ordinary people couldn't.
Bo Williams, 6 on your side.
Still to come, it's been more than a business for decades.
Caring for customers with style and maintaining the bonds of a neighborhood.
Bates Barber and Beauty Salon has been in East Knoxville in that community for more than 50 years, but its history goes back even further.
6 on your side reporter Ella Wales introduces us to a family building on a lasting legacy.
At Bates Barber and Beauty Salon, you'll find 3 generations working together. A waiting area where everyone knows each other. And a history that goes back more than 80 years.
Bates Barber and Beauty Salon derived from Doula's McNabb's Barbershop. It was called McNabb's Barbershop, which was my grandfather.
McNabb's opened in 1942 in Mechanicsville. It later closed, but McNabb's children carried on the family business.
My dad died in '66. We moved on this side of town, and my brothers opened up. Jay and Sam opened up on Martin Luther King. They opened up in the late 60s, 70s, and they asked me to join them. I had went to Wendell School of Beauty, so all of us was going, aiming toward the business, you know.
Ernestine Bates Harris runs the shop now alongside her son Toriano, and the next generation is already stepping up.
With the grandkids and my cousins and stuff, there's generations behind me, so they've been able to bring in the next generation of people and make me familiar with the different customers.
For some customers, the shop is like a second home.
I've been here since '73. What's that, 54 years or something?
My son got his first haircut at Bates, so that's how long I've been knowing him, and he is, if I can tell it, 46.
An East Knoxville staple, they say it is more than just a place to get a haircut.
The Bates are talkers. The men over the years, I mean, just like any black barber shop in the country you go to, they've got something to talk about.
Support from the community, just one reason behind the shop's success.
They've been coming for quite a while, so it's quite inspiring, and at the same time, being able to work with my mother is just a blessing, you know.
Reporting in Knoxville, Ella Wales, 6 on Your Side.
Continuing our focus on black business owners, we are meeting 2 Knoxville realtors working to help families become homeowners.
As 6 on Your Side reporter Naomi Hilmer shows us, they're hoping to set an example for the industry.
Having a black client versus a white client, there's not much difference in the process of buying a house. The only difference is that a lot of times the minority community really don't feel like home ownership is obtainable.
Starting out as a designer, Melissa Nelson found her passion in real estate when she saw firsthand the way home ownership can change the lives of families for generations to come.
I realized that my passion was really to help my community because, you know, even when I was younger, having a home was never, you know, in my future. I didn't know about home ownership because that wasn't spoken about.
Meeting through the industry, Nelson met Ruthie Lyons, another realtor with the same goal in mind, helping people build generational wealth and inspiring others like her.
I have mentored so many black female realtors here in the Knoxville area, and they've all gone on to do amazing things. And that's something I really take pride in. It's how can I take my knowledge and my information to help improve someone else's life.
She says she bought her first home at just 26 years old with the help of a government program. And even now, in a market where home ownership may feel unattainable, programs like the ones she used are available for buyers. It's just a matter of finding them.
I know, and I've seen firsthand how real estate can change the trajectory of your future and build generational wealth. And it's available to everybody. You just have to know where to get the information.
And that's where they step in.
Because it can be done no matter where you come from. There's no boundaries of what we can have or what we can achieve if we just, you know, get out there and learn and educate ourselves on it.
In Knoxville, Naomi Hilmer, 6 on Your Side.
Still to come, how Knoxville's new baseball stadium is making space to honor trailblazers of the sport in our city.
It's written into parts of the city you might not expect. 6 on Your Side's Elena Verdine takes us to some of the spots where that history continues.
Black history in Knoxville isn't just in museums. It's built into the places people walk by every day.
One of those places was the Bijou Theater. Our oldest theater was built in 1909, right in the time that things were getting more and more segregated.
When it opened, only a few rows in the second balcony were open to black customers. The Bijou hosted Charleston contests, a traveling production of Broadway's first all-black musical, and some events for the black community.
Austin High School would have their commencement there. There was the black public high school.
Chilhowie Park was considered a white park, but in the Jacob Building, over the years, music legends like Duke Ellington, Lionel Hampton, Ike and Tina Turner, and more took the stage for black audiences.
And white people were admitted as spectators. So they kind of reversed the old church and theater model of having black people in the balcony by putting white people in the balcony.
On Depot Street, the Southern Station still stands. Built in 1903, shortly after the Plessy v. Ferguson decision, its construction was symbolic.
The Southern Station was built with 2 halves that are perfectly symmetrical and had a black side and a white side. Places like Patrick Sullivan's Saloon, which is still standing there. It was in the Old City area, and it's now where the Lonesome Dove restaurant is. If you had a nickel to buy a beer, that was all you needed to come into a saloon. It was completely unsegregated.
Knoxville College was founded just after the Civil War to educate people who'd been enslaved. Many recognized that iconic main building on top of the hill.
It was originally a teacher's college, kind of evolved into a liberal arts college, but a very respected, historically black college that was there for more than 130 years.
And in South Knoxville, a name you may not know, but should.
They're like William Hastie, whose house is still standing in South Knoxville, was the first U.S. federal justice in history.
In Knoxville, Elena Verdine, 6 on your side.
And now we head to the Diamond to take a look at one of the most influential sports teams here in Knoxville.
Sports reporter Sam Rothman has more on how the Giants laid the foundation for baseball in the city.
Knoxville has seen its fair share of baseball championships. There's the Vols.
For the first time, Rocky Top reaches the mountaintop of college baseball.
The Smokies.
And the Tennessee Smokies are the Southern League champions of 2023.
But a century before those, there was the Knoxville Giants.
They not only set the foundation as champions, but they also set the foundation in terms of understanding how African Americans have contributed to the game and indeed to much of the history that's East Tennessee.
In 1920, the Giants joined the newly formed Negro Southern League, becoming Knoxville's first professional black baseball team. They won the league's first ever championship that same year, despite not having championship resources.
We're not going to have the best equipment. We're not going to have the best fields. We're going to be sleeping in buses. When we talk about, all that they had to overcome to play this game, you wonder why? Why would you go through all of that?
Why? Well, that's easy.
We play it for the love of the game.
That's the answer Ron Banks grew up hearing from his dad, Ralph, who played for the Giants in the 30s.
And if they win a game, they got 50 cents. If they lost, they got 25. They wouldn't leave until they lost, and so they was there for a long time.
They were also creating space for themselves in a world that was not making room for African Americans. And so they were really sending a much larger message about how you make space for your gifts.
And in return, 100 years later, the Knoxville Smokies made space in their new stadium to honor those trailblazers. Banks says his dad was always humble about his baseball days, so it took a return to his hometown and to Covenant Health Park to really understand the impact number 24 had on the city.
You sitting there, you said, man, they were legends.
A legend, not just to his son.
He could adapt, and I learned that quality from him. Whatever I have to do in life, I can adapt to it.
But to society as a whole.
They're an inspiration because they didn't take all the challenges that went up against them as a reason not to do it, but as a reason to do it.
Reporting in Knoxville, I'm Sam Rothman.
And thanks for joining us in honoring Black history around Knoxville. But remember, this history is all around us and far beyond the month of February.
Our challenge to you, keep honoring that history and sharing it for the generations to come. Good night.